Hello all. Before we begin the video, let's discuss CloudFoundation. CloudFoundation is the premier online training platform to help individuals and organizations gain knowledge and skills in the ever-growing cloud computing industry. Here in this video we will have an in-depth look into Mulesoft. Mulesoft is a platform that enables developers to integrate applications, data, and devices through API-led connectivity. It provides a unified solution to connect, manage, and secure various applications, data sources, and devices in an organization. In this video series, we will be discussing the following. Create project flow, event mapping, API design, business requirement, internal messaging, listener and publish components, properties, data weave, data wave tutorial, intro to data wave functions, JMS database, choice router configuration and error handling, error, flow level, overview on CI and CD, system API development. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel and check out other videos related to the latest technologies on our CloudFoundation channel. Contact us at India, USA, UK, sales@cloudfoundation.com. Let's get started.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
see.
the two major things. One is about API development.
Yep.
This is one stream. Okay. This contains API design, what is the best practices in API designing, and RAML API, how to manage the API, how to share your API. So that is the API segment. And the second thing you told, right, about API development. API development itself, but it's API implementation.
Okay.
This is design, sorry, this is not, this is design, not a development. This is actual, this is design and this is implementation or a development. Okay. So these three areas we need to focus, these two areas. First thing is API design and API implementation.
Nice. I like that.
Right.
I like
So,
how you, I like how you simplify stuff. Nice.
Excellent. Excellent. So API design and design thing we do in a component called Anypoint Design Center. Okay. I hope you already registered with Anypoint platform. You might have seen Anypoint Design Center also. Am I right? Anytime it's a design center, right?
Yep, I do have that already.
Yeah. So when you get into the Mulesoft project, the first thing the project management asks you to see the design. How for a specific business requirement, how is the API design? Is the design? What are operations inside the API? How you design the API using a RAML, that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to focus on the designing the API using RAML, what are different resources, what are how to design query parameters, URI parameters, all the stuff you see in the design part.
Yeah.
Okay. In today's session, my roadmap is I want to cover a little bit about of design and little bit about of implementation. So you will get the overall picture of the API design implementation, and you need to drill down into those concepts, and we come up with the questions in the next session, right?
Excellent, excellent.
In the regarding API implementation, you need to know how the messages got processed in the Mule. So what's this API you designed in the design center, and the same API you are going to implement in Anypoint Studio. Anypoint Studio is a IDE where it has complete infrastructure, means it has connectors, loaded with connectors, transformers, all the stuff. Using those components, you can able to implement your API, whatever API design, right? Okay. Yeah. So while you are implementing that API, you need to have idea about how the API receives the messages, in what way it receives the messages, and how it process the message. Okay, from the postman, you said from the postman,
Yeah.
I send a message to Hello World application you develop,
Yeah.
right? In Anypoint Studio, Hello World application.
Mhm.
And this application processes the message received from the postman, right?
Yeah.
But underlying there are something or this how the message received from postman to your Mule application, in what format the message received the Mule application, and how this Hello World Mule application process that message, what internals of that message, that thing you need to know.
Mhm.
Right, these two parts. Right? First part is about the design, and second part is about the implementation.
Implementation. Yeah. Nice.
Right. Okay. So I will come from implementation design. Just first I discuss a little bit about implementation,
Mhm.
and I'll come to design. All right.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So let me share one of my slide regarding implementation. So to understand the basics of the Mulesoft implementation, you need to understand the what is the role of the Mulesoft integration. So Mulesoft is an integration, means it's connecting multiple systems and multiple applications, right?
That's right.
So you can treat Mulesoft as a broker, right? This middleman sitting in middle of so many applications is a broker, right?
Yeah.
So when you are working as a middleman between applications, you will get different kinds of messages. Means you will work as a broker between different kinds of application messages.
That's right.
Okay. So what I meant is, you might be receiving. You means in broker. You means I'm calling as a means of integration. Assume that. Okay. Means of PSB or integration. Or, this guy is sitting between applications. Okay, this one. So this guy have chance to receive messages from HTTP client. HTTP client means it might be a browser, it might be a postman kind of thing, it might be an application you developed using HTTP components, right? So it will get messages from HTTP clients,
Mhm.
and it will get messages from the messaging clients. Messaging clients, right? Like Act2MQ, JMS, RabbitMQ, or IBM MQ, Anypoint MQ. These are called messaging clients, right?
Yeah.
Right. The Mulesoft may receive messages from the messaging clients, or Mulesoft can receive messages from the databases. Means these are all sources. We call as a source.
Mhm.
From where Mulesoft is getting messages. What is source systems, right?
Yeah.
So from databases, Mulesoft might be reading from the database tables and getting messages, right?
Yeah.
Or there are some FTP server is there. Somebody puts file in the FTP server. Some applications, some different application put the file in the FTP server. And Mulesoft receiving messages from the FTP server. They're receiving files from the FTP server.
That's right.
Right. So likewise, so many source systems are CRMs are there. So many source systems are there. Mulesoft will receiving messages from these different kinds of systems, not in one single system, right?
So,
okay.
Ganesh,
Yeah,
so
sure.
is this also what they also call a connectors?
Yeah.
Yes. They're same, right? Sources and
Yes.
connectors. Yeah.
Yes. Mulesoft has different connectors. HTTP connector is available. So that HTTP connector talk to HTTP client, and JMS connector is available. That JMS connector talk to a specific JMS client. DB connector is available. So Mulesoft has all connectors packed inside. To want to talk to the different systems, we Mulesoft use that kind of connector. So there is some framework you can develop your own custom component. Okay. And you can able to connect that one. But most of the time, you won't get that kind of requirement. Is very minimal. But if in case if you get such requirement, you need to develop your own connector.
And that's doable in the tool.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Connector framework is there. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. Now, the fundamental here you need to focus is you means Mulesoft is receiving different kinds of messages. All the messages same or different? Can I say HTTP message is same as a database message? No, right?
Yeah.
It has some native structure. HTTP has some native structure and database has native structure.
That's
then
right.
Mulesoft has capability to understand and process all these kind of messages.
That's right.
Right? Right. Then how the Mulesoft is designed, how it is designed to understand and process all these kinds of messages. There is a component inside Mulesoft we're going to develop. That component is called a flow. Flow is a basic building block of Mulesoft.
I see.
A flow is the component that receives the message from external world, like different kinds of sources, and it processes the message and it replaces back to that component or any other component. So flow is the basic structure. Like any software component, what will do? It take the input and process and use the output, right? Any software component.
Yeah.
Right. Similarly, Mulesoft also takes the input, process it, and use the output. In similar fundamental thing, the flow is the guy who takes the input, process it, and sends the output. So you need to understand this basic building block of flow. So you will going to develop different kinds of flows as part of your Mulesoft journey. Then you need to understand about the fundamental of flow. What is the flow? What is what it contains? The flow contains three important parts. The first one is a source. This place for the source. And this is the process. And one more section is called error handling section. Three sections. It contains three sections. One is the source section, process section, and error handling section. So in Mulesoft, there is some requirement. You need to receive message from HTTP client, and you need to store that message to database. You got such requirement. Your manager asked, see, our client will send a message and you need to store that message to database. That is a business requirement you need to do.
Okay.
Right. So let me go back to my slide once. One sec. So this is business requirement from the postman. I'm sending this data. This is a record of one employee, right? And your requirement, you need to store this information to database table, right?
Yeah.
So here I'm showing this is a flow. This is the diagram of flow. If you see in there is some partition here you're seeing, right? Some dashed line, dotted line over here.
Yeah.
So this partition, the first thing is the source. This area, this place is source.
Yeah.
And after partition, this area is called process area.
Okay.
And down you can see error handling area. Okay, this is called error handling section. It's three section.
Yeah.
Right. And you will ask, okay, boss, from where we are getting messages? Your boss told, okay, we are getting messages from the HTTP application. Then what you do? You will configure HTTP listener in the source.
The listener, yeah.
Okay, because you are getting message from HTTP client.
That's right.
Okay, but in some case, you will get message from one database and you need to put the same message to a different database. In that case, instead of HTTP listener, you put the database listener. If it is
the listener will be database.
Right? In case source is also database and target is also the database. In that case, the listener is the database. Right? In some case, your boss told, okay, there is some file from FTP server. Get the file and store the information inside the file to database. In that case, The source is you put FTP server, FTP listener, not an HTTP listener.
I know. So Ganesh, and
Yeah,
would even though if it's FTP or the database or HTTP, we will still call a listener, isn't it?
exactly. Listener is a guy who is listening the information. Therefore, you call a listener. Okay.
So if it's FTP, we don't call it something else. It's still listener.
Yeah.
But behind the scene, it could be FTP.
So the thing is, the inbound part. The inbound part means we are receiving message from the our FTP database, HTTP. The inbound we call as listener.
Yeah.
Because we're listening the messages.
Yeah.
And there is some outbound component, means that is giving back the messages to that end systems. Like we may push the information to HTTP, or we may insert the information to database. Those different connectors are there. Those are outbound. Those we can't call as listeners.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like
the
outbound,
receivers are called listeners. Got it. So if you see there is some HTTP, this is called, this guy takes the message from external world. Therefore it's called listener. Okay. If you see in HTTP, see the request is that this is not listener. The request means it will push message through some other HTTP system. We will send messages from the Mule. We send the message to other system, other HTTP system. Okay. So therefore called, this is a outbound call. Listener is inbound, request is outbound.
Okay.
Right. In similar way, we have the components. Those can receive messages from external world and they can send the message external world. The two different components are available.
That's right.
Okay. So those components, those we are receivers, those are listeners. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So now in this scenario, one moment, where is my here it is. So if you observe the flow, the source now HTTP listener is a source.
Okay.
And the process, we will receive this message from HTTP and we convert that message in a way the database understands using the transform message component. Okay, right now I'm saying at high level, we going forward, we see what is transform message, how we will transform that things. Okay. Now after transforming, we are inserting the message to database. Okay. Right. So this is called processing. Transforming and inserting is called processing. This is called process section.
Processing section. Okay.
And while transforming, you write a query, some bad syntax. Then inside, some insert query contains some bad syntax. Some field name is not proper. Then you will get some error, right? Okay. To handle that error, if there is error handling section. Here we will see, we will send back to information back to client saying that hey, whatever the query is wrong, you need to write to correct the query. So that thing we send back to client who called that. Maybe that information we log to logger also. Okay? So this contains error handling section, right?
Yeah.
So this is the basic building block. You receive the message, you process the message, and while processing, if you got any error, you manage the error. So this is the flow.
Nice.
Any doubts till this point?
My friend, I really very impressed, and I really liked how you simplify.
Thank you.
how you explain very well. I really.
Second point. Up to this is the flow. If you understand, we'll go move to the second point. Then how the messages got processed. Okay. So as a Mule is a broker, it is receiving different kinds of messages. Right. We go back over here.
So Girish, one second.
Yeah.
And all the brokers the broker section you mentioned that gets the inputs and listens the message, use that flow to process it, and then creates output or including the error handling everything.
Yeah.
So is that like ESP or ESP is all it's not, right?
It is a kind of component inside ESB.
Okay.
Okay. The ESB is what what is the ESB? It is a message broker itself. ESB is also called a
Yeah. They
message
call
broker.
it something
Yeah.
service bus.
Service
Something like
bus.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Service bus means it establishes a kind of connectivity between applications. That is called a bus.
Okay.
Okay. So the flow is work as a bus between one application to some other application, right? The message will flow through the bus.
Yeah.
Flow through the flow.
Mm.
Right? So from the source, the message reaches the flow, and from the flow, it reaches the target. So it's acting as a bus, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, called a bus. It's part of the bus only. Part of the means the entire ESB not will contain one flow. You contain multiple flows.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can't say if one single flow is an ESB, and ESB contain multiple flows.
Got
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Got it. Now, if you see my current slide, see.
Yeah. Event source.
These are different kinds of sources like HTTP, JMS, SMTP. Means from mail also we can get the messages. FTP database, and see, these guys are the components from the mule end. They will understand the messages. So
Okay.
if the message coming from HTTP, I will put HTTP listener in front.
Okay.
Okay. So assume like a business scenario, you have a large business, right? And you have clients like German client, and you have a Spanish client, you have a Portuguese client, right? But your employees can understand only English. Okay. Your staff understands only English, and your business got grown up and different clients of coming. Now, this is your business, and there is a guys working for you. Okay, these guys understand only English. He doesn't understand any kind of other Spanish, German language. So tomorrow a new client come with a new language. So do you ask your staff to understand that that language? Right.
Yeah. So if he has a new language, right?
Yeah, new language.
Yeah.
So how you manage your business? I mean, because your staff understand only English language.
Only English.
They won't understand different kinds of languages. But your business has grown up and you are getting different clients. So
I need a translator, is it?
Yeah, exactly. You would just put one translator, and this guy understands the German, and this guy explains in your English, right?
Yeah.
This is the best business model, right?
Yeah.
So you can't ask your employees to learn different kinds of language. They need to focus on their work.
Yeah.
They don't focus on different what language they need to learn, right?
That's right.
Okay. Similarly, you have two different components in Mulesoft. One component responsible to talking to other systems. This is only responsibility. This guy won't process anything. This guy won't work. Right? What is responsibility? Only understand the incoming message and translate that message to the guys who work in a way they understand.
Yeah.
That is responsibility of this guy.
Yeah.
And those guys are working on the message. They won't bother how to connect to that system, how to talk to the end client, what need to. They won't bother about that. They only work on the message. Got it?
Yeah.
The similar kind of thing means if you want to talk to different kinds of end systems, if you want to deal with different kinds of clients, what you do, you will engage different kinds of people. One set of people talking to the end systems or end clients and getting the input from, and they will transforming the way the staff understands, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Once this staff finished their work, they will give output English output to your translator or your connector, and this again transforms to the guy. For example, we get the information, we get message to German client. Okay. So the German work order takes this translator and it transforms to English and explain to your staff. Your staff work on that requirement, and they will give the output to your translator. Your translator again transform that work to German way and understand to German language. So this is way, right? Okay. In similar way, if message comes from HTTP client, assume now comes to technical way. If message from HTTP client, so HTTP client will send a HTTP message. Okay, so you will engage HTTP listener, so that guy is able to understand HTTP message.
That's right.
You will as HTTP listener, though you can engage that listener, and your staff can't understand HTTP message. Okay, and what kind of message the event processors understand? New term you called event processors. One term is event source. I'm sorry, I didn't explain this thing. Event source and event processors, the two major components in the Mule flow. Event source is a guy is listener, nothing but listener.
Okay.
Okay, listener or event source. What is you need to understand different kinds of terminology, because the Mulesoft the blogs or articles or everything explained in this kind of terminology. Event source and event processors.
Okay.
Event source is called listener or inbound, whatever, right? It's receiver or inbound or event source or listener, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So this guy is called event source, and event processors are, they will work on the message. In this example, whatever I explained here, right? I explained here what is event source is. This listener is event source, right? Getting message from external world. What are event processors? These two kind of things. Transfer message and select. Select means it's insert, actually, not select, insert. These two are event processors.
Okay.
They're working in the message. Right. So similarly, these event processors cannot understand the incoming message. They will understand only one kind of message, that English message. English is equal to Mule event.
How to process? They only know how to process message. They don't know
exactly. Yeah.
What type of message it is and what what content.
So the common format is called a Mule event. They can understand only Mule event.
Okay.
Mule event. Then whose responsibility to get the incoming message and convert to Mule event?
The listener. That's I think that's the question I had. Actually, I'm glad.
Excellent.
You read my mind.
Yeah.
So not only it listens the message. I mean, for example, like the HTTP one knows how to listen the HTTP message, but also it also converts to a Mule event.
Excellent, fantastic, Hamoud. You understand it. Yeah.
And then those guys know how to process Mule events.
Yeah, that's the catch over here. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. This is a foremost very important fundamental. Most people understand. This they understand. Your use of journey is very smooth. The point is, the listener is a guy is only not only understand the incoming message, but also builds the Mule event and handovers that Mule event to the processors. Right. So that is very important point in the Mule fundamentals. That point you need to understand. We see demo also. This part we will see demo also. Then it's clear.
So,
yeah.
So it's really good. So to take let's do one more step.
Yeah, sure.
When we're saying that it converts to the Mule events, we're talking about the JSON or XML or some other.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying, right? In a high level.
Yeah. One. I will. We are very close. We will.
Yeah. All right.
We'll talk about that one. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Now, if you understand this slide, right? When the message coming from HTTP, message structure is always same. Every message structure is always same, but they internally they differ. Means message coming two parts. One is header and payload. Right. So the payload is a part where it contains the core business message.
That's right.
Right. Like if I'm sending XML from my postman.
Mhm.
So whatever XML I'm sending, that will travel inside the payload area.
Mhm.
Okay. And header is give information about the payload, means in what way it is going XML format. And if you are sending any security credentials, then that security things will go inside the header.
Mhm.
Okay. Header will help the payload, but payload is a core business message.
Yeah.
Right. So every message structure seems same, but to understand that message, you need to have the different kinds of listener at the mule end.
That knows how to process the
Exactly.
HTTP, one that
Exactly.
knows how to process the GMS,
Exactly.
SMTP.
Yeah.
So I understand you saying that so the standard is for the message, it contains header and payload,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the header in HTTP client and the header in SMTP client are different, right?
Correct. Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But that listener knows how to, they are expert how to, listen and process each of these client and,
Exactly.
into
Yeah.
source. That's really good.
That specific listener know how to understand that kind of message.
Yeah. Even
Okay.
source.
Yeah.
So it looks to me, everything, all right. So the first two, HTTP and GMS client, you have a listener and event source,
Mhm.
while
Yeah.
the rest of each one is different.
Yeah. Correct.
We don't call them listeners. We call them.
They given a different name based on the business context. See,
Okay.
FTP client means this is called an FTP, actual FTP server. From FTP server,
Mhm.
when I want to read the when Mule want to read the message, files from FTP server, means
Mhm.
whenever a new file is added to FTP server or whenever an existing file updated in the FTP server,
Okay.
then only Mule want to read that file.
Okay.
Right? FTP server has 100 files. Mule
Yeah.
don't want to read 100 files every time.
Yeah. Only new ones.
Right? Only newly added file you want to read, or any existing file if updated, that file you want to read. Therefore, it is a new or updated file.
Yeah.
On database,
Mm.
database contains 100 rows. First time it reads 100 rows and it processes it. Next time it won't read the 100 rows. On table row, if anybody adds the new record to database, then it want to read that new record.
Yeah.
Okay, therefore name as on table row.
Got it. Where the other one is, they listen for any incoming message.
Correct.
Where this one is, they read it and they know the status of those, for example, database where the last record was,
Yeah.
and when there's a new record, then that's when they will read.
Correct. Exactly.
Nice.
Right. So, and what these listeners will do is these listeners will build a mule event. Right. So they take this message. Listener will take this message, header and payload message, and it will build the mule event.
Wow.
Right. If the message comes from database, it receives this message, database message, and builds the mule event. Right. Then why they are building mule event? Why? What's the reason they're building mule event? They're constructing.
Yeah. So that the processor understands.
Yes.
That's what the processor understands, is how to process
Yes.
a mule event.
Process understand only mule event. They won't understand HTTP, SMTP. No. They won't bother about that end message.
That's right.
They won't understand.
So those guys they're like translators, right? You were saying, example of the language.
Exactly. In some way, you can treat. You can remember like that.
Excellent.
Okay. And mule event. Then now you need to understand how this mule event is built based on this input. That is also one important criteria.
Yeah.
Okay, I will combine this one. This flow. Okay. See, assume it's HTTP request. Mule event contains three parts. Okay, let me show the mule event. It contains three parts. First part is attributes, payload, and variables. Okay. So this mule event will flow from processor to processor inside your mule flow. Okay. This mule event will flow from processor to processor because here in the mule, I have two processors, right?
Yeah.
So the first guy prepares, the listener prepares the mule event and handovers that mule event to the transform message.
Yeah.
And transform message will process that mule event, and the processed mule event sent to the second this component.
That's right.
So mule event will flow from processor to processor. That's one of the second point you need to remember, right?
Yeah.
And what is the mule event? It contains the three components: attributes, payload, variables. So how the attributes, payload, and variables are built from the incoming request. So here what happens is, whatever header things will go to the attributes section.
Okay, or the header is the attributes.
Yeah. So what mule listener will do, it takes the header from HTTP request or incoming request and put that header section to the attributes section in the mule event. Okay. Copies the headers to attributes. Okay. And the data section, data or payload, that copy to the payload section. And initially variables are empty. Initially, once the when the listener converts, that point variables are empty. But going forward, while processing the message, we can add the new variables that we will discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow means in the next session I will discuss about the variables that I
would love to have one tomorrow to continue this. We'll talk about it, your availability after the end of the session, but
this one I will demonstrate and can